Hi, YouTubers. My name is Brian Curtis. Oh boy, I was just thinking today. I was drawing cards, and what did it tell me? It said, uh, "Intervene in the face of hostility." You seem to be one of the people that can draw, make people feel at home or something like, or eliminate the conflicts in the situation. I don't know. It is something that I really have been good at. I don't know what you guys are good at. There's not very many people that watch this channel, so if you do watch it, tell me in the comments. I'd love to know. All of us are good at a lot of different things. Sometimes, when you don't expect anything from anybody, and you stay in a place of non-attachment, it's really hard to get triggered anymore. Especially when you're just doing your own thing, right? And you're working on yourself, and you realize that you know your success is about you. It has nothing to do with anybody else. And so, I've. It's funny when you take time to slow down, and if you're not happy doing something, don't do it, right? It's telling you that you should be going somewhere else. And so earlier this week, actually this last weekend, I don't know if I talked about it in my last video. I was just kind of down on myself, and it was just like, oh god, it was like, blah. And sometimes it takes things like that before you unlock your creativity again. You just ground yourself and get rid of things before you can and let go of things. Like, um, for a lot of you, I've talked about group creative projects, but you can be individually creative and group creative at the same time. So, and it's all about, you're always trying to meet a need, right? You're kind of wasting your energy if you're just trying to create something that's not meeting a need, right? If nobody wants what it is that you're selling or what you're offering, I should say offering, not selling. What you're offering to each other, um, then yeah. And so a lot of times, and I was steered away. I felt my guides were steering me away, and that the guidance I was getting was steering away from selling organizational development for business, right? Um, and when it doesn't feel like your needs are being met, um, you'll get down on yourself. For one thing, not only are you not meeting your own needs, but if it feels like you're not meeting the needs of the people around you, that's what I care more about. Because for a long time, I felt like I could have just walked off in the forest. It's like I don't need anything for me. It has more to do with the people around me and what I'm doing for them. And so, if it doesn't feel like you're meeting those needs, that's when it's hardest for me. I don't know about the rest of you guys. It doesn't feel like I need anything. I just need to be able to, meet the needs of you guys. And yeah, I do have needs, but it feels like they're pretty minimal compared to like a lot of people's needs. I just need, I need and want, somebody to be close to. That's pretty much it. I don't care about um, cars or trucks. I mean, it's nice to be able to have a nice car, and it's nice to be able to live in a house that's warm and you're not freezing outside. And extremely grateful for things like that, right? But it doesn't feel like, when it comes to like need, what do I actually need? I think the only thing that any of us actually need is for, to feel close to with somebody, and it feels good to be able to provide for somebody's needs, right? And to be provided for. Yeah. Um, so how do we exchange that, right? And that's what got me thinking. And I woke up yesterday morning, and I kind of had somewhat of a breakthrough because I had finally gotten rid of, and this is good, And I'm seeing this a lot of people are going through this right now. If you just let go of whatever it is that you were doing in the past, just let it go. And just be at peace. A lot of times you'll get ideas that form, downloads. And yesterday morning I was thinking, for one thing, I talk about money a lot on this channel. And money is kind of, they say time is money, right? But that's not really true, is it? Because money is this kind of arbitrary, you know, thing that we've put on our time. And so not everybody's time is worth the same amount of money. In our society, anyway. And that's created this huge imbalance. For one thing, somebody working in India is going to be working for a lot less money for their time than you are, just because of the place that you live, right? If I go to work for somebody, I don't know what the average rate is in the United States now, but it's had to go up quite a bit because of the inflation rate. What is it? The average income now, I think it's still under 100,000, but I mean, in order to live healthily now, it's pushing anywhere from, 110 to $150,000 a year. And in some places, it might even be more. Like if you live in San Francisco, $150,000 a year is almost poverty level. So there's not this median. There's no median on our time. But in reality, is my time more important than your time? Well, now you can argue and say, well, it depends what you're doing, right? I had this conversation with somebody earlier, and I would agree with that. If you're a doctor, your time is more valuable than somebody who's an apprentice or had just come out of med school. But I would argue that you can learn almost any job if you apprenticed with somebody that was fully skilled in that profession, that you could learn almost any skill and job within 4 to 5 years. I had this conversation with a couple of buddies of mine. One was a chiropractor. He went to 8 years of school. It's funny how chiropractors have to go through the exact same and take the exact same classes that a full MD does, but they're not certified, right? You get certified as a chiropractor, but you still got to go through all the same classes. And so all that you studied, all the same biology, everything. Super smart guy. Love him. But he admitted that, and I asked him this directly, it's like, what would it take if no school whatsoever, and as long as they had the aptitude, because some people just don't have the aptitude for some things, right? If somebody had the aptitude to work with you for your job, how long do you think that they would have to work with you before they could do your job as well as you do it? And he admitted probably 4 to 5 years. And it depends on the individual, right? All of us have different learning aptitudes. I've been blessed enough to where it feels like I could pretty much do anything I want to do. So that in some ways that's a blessing, in some ways that's a curse, because it makes you're just like, okay, what am I going to do? Right? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. But thinking about that, just that one subject creates possibilities, right? New creations. And so I was writing a second book, and I realized, sometimes you got to take yourself away from writing for a little while, and then think about what you're writing, and where is it leading? Someone's got to lead somewhere, right? I mean, you're always providing for a need, right? We're part of a larger organism, and all of us, and I have a lot of respect. Everybody in the business community I've ever been with, doesn't matter if you're a coach, consultant, whatever, I can see how much value that everyone is bringing. It doesn't matter if you're doing meditation exercises or if you're any kind of business training, organizational development, team development. There's so many people that are offering so many different things, even motivational speakers, right? You just get after it there, get up. But sometimes you really do need to take some time out and just rest. Don't do anything. It's true. Sometimes you are better off just taking time out and just not doing a damn thing. Because, especially if you're doing the same thing as everybody else, right? It's like, okay, I need to download, right? And there's more to life than just upgrading ourselves. We have to be able to. We got to be. Feels like you're always offering something to someone else now. So for me, I would have these two choices in life. I can go in one direction towards building a product for people, and this is, it's just like Field of Dreams, right? If you build it, they will come. And so I have an idea around what I've just talked about of a product that allow us to share our time together correctly, right? I mean, that's the way you want, right? You want to figure out what it is you have to offer people and then get an equal exchange. So how do you do that? If money isn't, and I firmly believe this, my old coach, Karina Stewart, and I really appreciate her for this. You're worth, so much more, right? So you kind of have to try and find a balance of how much money is it of what I am offering that I'm worth, right? You don't want to say that I'm only worth $5. Come on, I'm worth more than that, right? And to be perfectly honest, every single one of you guys that I've ever met, you're worth all the money in the world to me. I don't care. And so that for me, it's like, it's so subjective. It doesn't make sense to me. I could give you $100. I could give you $10,000. I could give you all the money I have just to spend time with you. But it's all about time. It has nothing to do with money, right? So if time and money aren't relative, then how do you figure this out? Right? That's the real question. It's all about time. And relationships are all about the time we spend together. And the reason, think about why we tried to make technology advanced at all and how we got here. So we've gotten, we've been creating all this stuff and creating things for each other to the detriment of ourselves. We're not taking care of ourselves and allow ourselves to evolve. But that evolutionary process has to do with each other at the same time. Make sure that we're spending the appropriate as much time together as possible. So technology has enabled us to make life easier for producing food, although some of our food isn't as good, right? If we're using too much technology for food, it's all relative. But all of that, and the reason we're here is just to spend time together, right? And so 11:11 on the clock, as I say that. That's the only reason that we're here. Everything that we've ever built in this life was for each other. And if it's not for each other, and if it's just to make money, money isn't even relative to our time. So what are we doing? Right? It's not. It's not relative to anybody's time. Because, is somebody that's an expert, a software expert in India, worth less time than me? No. Or their time is more valuable than mine, and when it comes to that, but they're making less money. How does that make sense? It doesn't. And so when you put an arbitrary value on time, you pull society out of balance. It's all about controlling energy. Time and energy is relative. Money and energy is not. Think about it that way. So, how do you trade time and energy? That's all you're doing, right? And meeting the needs of the body. Because if you're not meeting a need, then what are you doing? And I firmly believe everybody I've ever met, including every coach, every consultant, every person in the business world, every people I've worked with, whether an electrician, I've always felt like they were meeting a need, or else they wouldn't have a job. But it's always been imbalanced. Those relationships have been imbalanced, and money enables narcissism, right? Because now you're not trading equal time anymore. You've created an unequal balance of time through money. And now you can control other people's time. So the question is, if I just traded you time for time, how would anybody else control that time? How do you tax time? I don't know. Think about that for a while. Let's draw an oracle card, see what we get on that subject, and then I'll leave you guys to it. What's today? Thursday? Yeah. I like shuffle too organized. I gotta get a little sloppier for something to flop out, right? I keep getting guidance, and I've got this big project in front of me, right? Because I want to stay in my creative energy. And group creative projects are really interesting to me. And now I know kind of where this is going. It's going to come out eventually, right? Something's got to come out. Let's just take this one. Transformation. That's a pretty good card. Transformation. Because once you've got direction and you can pour your heart into it, then things get a little more exciting, right? Then life's not so dull. And then you can kind of create balance. You always got to create balance. Don't get off the hook and start driving yourself into oblivion, trying to work yourself to death. Don't do that. You're worth way more valuable than that. Have a great day, guys. Catch you later.